Feels good. People, what's going on? As you guys know, I'm a life coach, wealth coach, investor, entrepreneur, teaching you how to create wealth while living. That's my goal. As you guys know, I'm always here to tell you guys what's going on, what's the next moves of life. But also today, I want to start off with a funny story. This weekend, I had to go to Miami to pick up a part from a particular individual. And this individual lives in a very wealthy city. And the wealthy city that this individual lives in is called Pinecrest. For a lot of you that's from Florida, when we talk about Miami, Florida, there's different parts. One of the cities is called Pinecrest. This city has a lot of high-end homes. Just to give you guys a clarification on how expensive the homes are in Pinecrest, we're talking 1 acre of land could be $2 million, 2.5, $2.7 million. So just really understand how expensive this particular area is. So I'm giving you guys a quick story before we talk about what we're going to talk about today, which is a great topic. I hope you guys enjoy it. We're talking about those single individuals who don't own shit and why you should be looking at owning a triplex or a duplex. That's what we're going to be talking about today. But before we start talking about why should single people invest into triplexes and duplexes, we're going to first talk about and listen to this story that I just went through this weekend. And I'm going to tell you what, of course, put me in a position to shoot the TikTok video I shot this morning. I see a lot of you in the DMs laughing and all that good stuff. I love it. I love it. What's going on? What's going on? K023, what's poppin'? What's going on? Aria Jackson, Martha, Brandon, all that good stuff. And all the other people that's eventually going to watch this video. This Saturday, I had to go pick up a part in Pinecrest, Florida. And while I'm there, I meet the person that I'm picking up the part from. He's 19 years old, white kid, very nice brother. And I must say, while we're talking, it's really something that I want to ask the guy. I'm like, his home is so big. It's so enormous. And I'm just like, man, just curious. What do you do for a living? Like, what do you do for a living? What do your parents do for a living? Because it's a pretty big home. He says, well, my mom's a doctor. My father's a doctor. Now, I said, well, what kind of doctor? He says cardiologist is the mother. And I think a neurologist is the father. So brain doctor. So I said, man. I said, well, as we're talking, he starts telling me mother makes about $700,000, father makes about half $500,000 a year. So we're talking about between two individuals, $1.2 million. So I said, well, with those different aspects, what do you do for a living? 19-year-old white kid, very nice kid. He says to me, well, I'm actually a computer scientist. I said, man, what the hell is that? I hear the term, I understand what you mean, but that's a very broad occupation. Specify where in that area do you really do computer scientist work. And so he clarified to me. He says, man, I'm only 19 right now. I'm not making much, but I can't wait for me to get my master's. Then of course I'm going to be making way more money. I said, what's not much to you at 19 years old? He said, right now I'm only making a measly $39 an hour. Now imagine for some of you, you're not making that with a master's degree while this kid is 19 years old working on his bachelor's, making $39 an hour. To him, he's calling it measly. And I got to respect him. Because at a certain point of life, if you're born in the United States of America, you have a Social Security number, you should be making some good money. Especially if you went to college down here to be the best you and get paid what you're worth. Now, we continue. So as me and this individual talking, he's 19 years old, I'm 36. I said, God damn, 39 is measly, but okay, cool. So we're talking. I'm in one of my cars. He's in one of his cars. He's one of his cars is back there. He says, hey, while we're talking, he's like, man, come see one of my other cars. I said, one of your other cars? I said, what? I thought this was your car. He says, no, come see my other car. So this 19-year-old kid brings me around his house, which his house is so goddamn big. It took me a minute to get to the back of his house. We was walking. I'm like, damn, we still at your house? He's like, yeah. So imagine walking with a 19-year-old kid, maybe 4 minutes, and you're still not at the back of his house yet. So we finally get to the back of his house, and I'm like, man, I said, is that a McLaren? He's like, yeah, imagine a $400,000 car. The kid is 19 years old, and he also drives a car that I drive, which is so crazy. I have an M4, one of my cars, I have a couple cars, but one of my cars is an M4. So imagine I'm driving a $70,000 car. He's driving a $400,000 car. His house is worth $4 million. My house is worth roughly $1 million. And this kid is 19 years old. But again, it's not his home. It's his parents' home. So the parents, we're all talking about our cars because we got all performance cars and we're just chopping it up. And I said, so let me get this right. You guys together as parents make about $1.2 million. He says, yes. And then the son at $39 an hour. I said, man, so what do you make a year? He says, well, it depends. Here's the good part. I work from home. So let me get this right. This kid is 19 years old, makes $39 an hour. He calls it measly. The kid said to me, I only make a measly 19 bucks. This is nothing. And imagine, for some of you at grown adult ages, you've never felt $40 an hour. While this kid is 19 and this $39 is measly to him. I said, what are you about to make when you get your master's? He says, man, I'm looking to at least start $400,000 a year or $300,000 a year with my degree. People. So we started talking about crypto stocks and different things. And then, of course, I got in the McLaren. We riding around in the McLaren. You get what I'm saying? And then he rode in my M4. We just riding around, playing with each other's cars, just driving around. I said, damn. I said, let me get this right. I said, he says, oh, I forgot to tell you something, too. This house next door that they're building is mine also. Is my parents' house also. I said, but there's how much is the land alone? Because you guys are still developing right now. He says the land alone is roughly $1.6 million for this 3-acre piece of land. 1.6 million just for the land. He's like, we already got $2.2 million offers on the land, but we don't want to sell. We even got $4 or $5 million offers on our house cash, but we don't want to sell. People, do you understand how motivating that is to see a kid at 19-year-old, not only just talking like this, living with people who are around him to give him the right level of guidance to understand where you need to be in life and where you're going in life. Now, to fast forward, why did I give this story to you guys of where I was at and what I was doing Saturday, picking up a measly part, okay? And it just so happened I met a kid that's 19 years old that's probably making more money than a lot of grown adults that I know today. The guy is 19 years old making 39 bucks an hour, and he's calling it measly. And he's right, because the cost of living and inflation, $39 an hour is really not a lot of money. But for some of you, you have never felt $39 an hour. Now, today we're going to talk about how do you change the dynamics of that? How do your kids change the dynamics of that? Here's what I want you guys to understand. In this world today, if you are not married, okay, if you don't own a house, I want you guys to pay close attention to what I'm talking about today, because this is free game I'm giving you guys. If you are a single individual that don't own a goddamn house, there is no smarter thing to invest into than when this market crashes by the end of next year and going into 2024 than a triplex or a duplex. Here's why. There's nothing better than a person telling you something, but not only telling you, but explaining to you why. I'm explaining why. A lot of you don't realize that being single, not owning a home right now, for some of you, it's a great thing in a weird way. Because this is not the right time to be buying houses. Anybody that understands economics, this is not the right time to be buying houses. If you're buying a house right now, you're getting fucked all over the place. I'm telling you, no homo. Because if you understand economics, you're paying 7 to 8% interest. Home prices have gone down a little bit, but they're still not down where they need to be like '08. So buying a house right now, the whole point of buying a house, you're buying a house to eventually build equity, to eventually grow and build generational wealth. If you're buying a house at the top of the market, what equity are you building? What generational wealth are you building? Don't let these motherfucking realtors lie to you. I'm a realtor. I do commercial real estate though, but don't let these realtors lie to you and tell you this is the best time to buy a house. This is the worst fucking time to buy a house. And anybody want to challenge that, feel free. Because if you understand economics, it doesn't make sense to buy at an 8% interest. Now, there's some people that's going to say, look, it does make sense. Buy at 8%, then hoping that interest rates go down to 2 to 3% or 3%, refinance. Here's the problem. You're buying at the peak of the market. So even if you refinance, if you can, you still defeat the purpose of why you buy homes, which is an asset slash also a liability that is putting you in debt for 30 years. Why buy a home at the top of the market where you cannot pull out 80 or 100 or $200,000 from the home? And then you go refinance. All they're doing is stretching the loan. Refinancing means I'm going to charge your ass to stretch the loan. That's all it means. A lot of you think refinance is the best thing for you. No, it's the best thing for the banks because now your ass is in debt for even longer now. Now, let's continue. You're single. You don't own a property right now. It's 2022 going into 2023. Why does it make sense to buy a duplex or a triplex or even a quadplex? Listen to this very clearly, people. If you're single, that means you haven't used up your homestead. What homestead is just an exemption that benefits you, so you pay less property taxes, especially if you're a primary owner of a property, if this is your first home. So imagine a lot of you single individuals that don't own a property. It is the smartest thing when this market crash, end of next year, going into 2024. If I were you, I would not buy a house. I would buy a duplex, triplex, or a quadplex. And I would stay in one of the units and I would rent out the other 2 or 3 doors. And I'm going to tell you how beneficial this is. The game of life as you're growing and creating wealth is to create passive income, making you money while you sleep. A lot of you fail to realize this by just jumping in, buying a house. But then you buy a house, put all your resources, your credit, your savings, your everything you got into this one house. Now you're fighting to get more passive income because all your money ran out. While what you could have done is buy a triplex or a quadplex in a good neighborhood. Now, again, for some of you that may not know, a quadplex means 4 doors. A triplex means 3 doors. A duplex means 2 doors. Imagine having a quadplex, 4 doors. You live in one of them. Make sure there's rules to this. You buy a quadplex in a neighborhood that you would like to live in. Then you rent out the other 3 doors. It would also be smart if you're going to do a quadplex that's a 2-2 or 2-1. Listen to me again. I do commercial real estate. Do not do a quadplex that's a 1-1. There's no value in the way I'm talking right now. You want to see the true value, get you a duplex, a triplex, or a quadplex that's 2-1 or 2-2 or 3-2 minimum. Because why? No matter what type of economy we're in, if you decide to stay in one of the units, the other 3 units, you're charging people anywhere from $1,900 to $2,500 worth of rent based on if you have a 2-1, 2-2, 3-2. So if you really think about it, you could be making $7,500 a month without lifting a finger just because you bought a quadplex or a triplex in the right neighborhood and you're living in your unit for free. Then what you do years later, you move out of there and then go finally buy a house. Because as you're going to see, the game of life is about creating passive income, making money while you sleep. And a lot of you love to rush to go buy a single family home, 3-2, and put all your resources, your cash, your credit, your bank statements. Now, where's the passive income? Where's the wealth? It's taking some of you 10 years to do that, to save money again. While you could have done it smarter by simply, instead of buying a home as a single person first, you bought a triplex, a duplex, or a quadplex. And here's the beautiful part. If it's your primary home, you're going to homestead it, and you're going to put 3.5% down compared to a person like me who owns several properties. I have to put 20% down. 20% of a $600,000 quadplex, that's $120,000. 4% roughly of a $600,000 quadplex is only $24,000 down. People, there's a smart way to play this game of real estate. A lot of us weren't taught this. We sit here and pay rent, waste money paying rent all day. It's time that as you get older, people start paying you rent. You got to understand, you can't sit on the opposite side of the table forever. You should not. Let me rephrase that. Because a lot of you don't understand. You're giving away money every month when you're renting, when you could be the person receiving rent. And you can do that, especially with what's about to happen the end of next year. We are going into a recession. That means home prices are about to drop way more aggressively than they're currently dropping at I think the 18 or 22% right now. When they drop all the way, maybe 60% by the end of next year, going into 2024. If you're single, you don't own a property, the best thing for you to invest into is a duplex, a triplex, or a quadplex. Because if you live in one of the units, if you do a triplex, hypothetically, that means you have two other people paying you rent. And one beautiful thing I love about when there's a recession, rent demand is always there. People always need somewhere to stay. Rent prices don't stop, don't drop. People still gonna be paying $2,200 for 2 2s. People still gonna be paying $2,400 for 2 2s. People still gonna be paying $2,500 for 2 2s, $2,800 for 3 2s. Why don't you be that person that's collecting the $2,800 for that 2 2? And what's better and what's smarter is in that triplex or quadplex, you live in one of the units, you're renting out the other 2 or 3 units. You won the game. 2 3 years from now, guess what you did? You bought yourself a house. And now you rented out the unit that you was living in also, while you was already collecting rent from the other 2 or 3 doors that you own. And now that puts you in a position where you're working faster towards creating wealth. Because now your rent income, your rental income of your, let's say triplex or quadplex, is not only paying for your mortgage and leaving you behind maybe $4,000 to $5,000 extra every month to just save or do whatever you want to do for your retirement. People, a lot of us weren't taught this game of real estate. We're taught to buy a home, go in debt for 30 years, and think it's the smartest thing to do. If you're single, you're still going to benefit off the homestead exemption. In other words, think like this, there's a property tax benefit if it's your first property. Why not make your first property a triplex or a quadplex or a duplex? Because if you live in one of the units, you rent out the other units, people don't need to know that you're the owner. There's nothing more beautiful than knowing you live in a quadplex and 3 other people are paying you rent $2,500 a month. They're paying your mortgage. And you're making an extra $5,000 to $6,000 a month. What better situation is that? So to prepare yourself for what's about to happen, I'm going to say it again. A lot of you should be fixing your credit. A lot of you should be making sure you don't get these bullshit tax returns that you like to have that all have all these losses, because you're not going to be able to financially buy anything when the market crash. A lot of you love fat tax returns. I get it. $8, $10, $12, $15,000 coming back home. But your tax return has so much losses, your income has reduced so much, you can't afford anything in life. Don't be the person when the market crashes, you saying a statement like this: I wish I would have, I wish I could have, but I didn't. You don't want to be that person. You want to be the person that's just sitting on good savings, your credit is good, and the market crashed. People, all you single people, all you people who don't own homes that's probably watching this live, that's going to eventually see this live. If you do not own a home, and when this market crashes next year, not if, when it crashes next year, get ready to buy a triplex, a duplex, or a quadplex and learn how to collect rent from other people. A lot of you are programmed to always paying people rent. Some of you have been renting from the time you've been 17. That's all you know. When are you going to start letting people pay you rent? You can only do that by having good credit, having healthy tax returns, meaning they don't have all them goddamn losses. But I know a lot of y'all, I know how some of y'all work. Some of y'all, all y'all want to do is get a $10,000 tax return. I get it. Some of y'all feel rich. You feel rich when you get a $10,000 tax return. A tax return for some of y'all matters more than anything. Let me give y'all some real knowledge today. People who make money don't get tax returns, just so y'all know. People who make real money don't get tax returns. We owe the government. The last time I got a tax return, I'm 36, was when I was 19. Me claiming kids don't benefit me because I make a certain amount of money. I'm not showing off. I want you guys to understand the truth. And a lot of you need to understand why your mind needs to change. Because a lot of you are grown adults living on nothing, living for nothing. You don't own nothing. All you know how to do is pay rent. Some people have a lot of kids. You've mastered that part. I get it. But you need to master something else. Creating generational wealth. How are you going to retire? Some of y'all grown adults don't get it. You got all the fancy cars. There's a time and a place for cars. I get it. When your life is in order, you got your savings straight, your credit straight, you own properties, fuck it. Go ahead and treat yourself. Buy you a nice car. But when you don't own shit, when you got a 600 credit score or lower, when you still are paying rent at a grown adult age, when you're in a position where you're not leaving nothing behind, it's time for you to change your mindset, people. They call this the paradigm shift. Changing your approach to life. I see so many single people living in this world not owning nothing. What better time to get your shit together and get ready to purchase or invest into your own triplex that you own. And you could even call it what you want when you own it. And there's nothing sweeter than owning your own triplex, because why? You're going to live in one of the units. You're going to rent out the other 2 units at expensive rental prices. So now people are paying you rent every single month and you're putting your feet up. A lot of you don't understand the importance of collecting rent. You need to stop paying rent. You need to be the one collecting rent. One man's debt is another man's income. I'm always going to say this. What side of the table do you want to be on? This is why people stay broke. Their mindset doesn't change. A lot of you are single, have stacks of money in your bank account. Some of you got no money. I get that part too. But for the ones who have a lot of money, 10,000, 20,000, 40,000 just sitting in your bank account. Your next move, if you want to know what your next play should be in life, is to invest into a piece of real estate. Instead of buying a home first, if you are a single individual, because you're single, buy an investment property first that you're going to claim as your home. That's just how people do it. So you're going to buy a triplex, a duplex. You're going to be one of the residents. You're going to live in one of the units. If it's a quadplex, meaning it's 4 doors, you live in one of the units, rent out the other 3 units, $2,500 a piece. What sweetest situation is that? You're making $7,500 a month. How do you beat that? And that all that is you in no better situation than this. When the market crashes, guess what? Quadplexes go down in value. Triplexes go down in value. Duplexes go down in value. So not only are you collecting rent, hypothetically, you bought a property, a quadplex that was $700,000. You bought it for $200,000 because the market crashed end of next year, 2024. Not only are you collecting $7,500 a month times 12, 5 years later, that quadplex is back to being worth $700,000. You sold it. You just made $500,000 profit. Plus, let's not forget, the $7,500 a month times 12, you was collecting for those 5 or 7 years, which been paid the property off. People, the rich is continuously getting richer. The rich, they ain't worried about this right here. They kids already understand this. Their kids already understand the wealth. But I'm more concerned about the poor-minded people that's focused on wearing Gucci, Louis. That got Range Rovers, but they working 3 jobs. That's working 2 jobs because a broke friend told them to. That's the people I'm concerned about. Broke people getting broke advice. That's the people I'm concerned about. The broke people who are 40 years old, who still don't own shit, that's who I'm focused on. You guys deserve a fair chance to understand the reality of life. Wealthy people put their money in 2 different places. I could even say 3. Stocks, real estate, entrepreneurship, and you could even now count crypto as a place to store value. A lot of you need to understand you're so behind You just don't realize it yet. When somebody giving you game, you got the know-it-all mentality. Even though you don't own shit, you got the know-it-all mentality. And you wonder why you're still broke. You wonder why nothing is changing for you. People, to fix your situation, you need to understand what is your purpose of living every single day when you wake up, and how do you get to where you need to get to. I told you guys on maybe 3-4 videos back, my next goal every year now, I'm buying a property. Every year now. I'm not going 1 year without buying a property. I would sometimes skip 2 years, no, not anymore. Starting next year, I'm buying a property every single year. Minimum 1 or 2 properties. I really would prefer if I could get a triplex every year. At least 1 triplex every year. If the prices are right, because I'm not a person that's going to buy just to prove a point to social media. Numbers have to make sense to me. People, in life, you got to really look at your life. A lot of you are single. You're not married. You have a value that a lot of us don't have, who have several properties. You could buy a property and homestead it, save on property taxes, and guess what? All you got to do is put 3.5% down, because by theory, it's considered residential. And guess what? You decided not to buy a home. You bought a triplex in a good area. You're renting out the other 2 doors. You're collecting $5,000, $6,000, $7,000 a month. But not only did you buy a passive income property, you bought it at the right time when the market crashed. While people are complaining, I lost my job. Millions of Americans right now are losing their jobs because a recession is coming. And you know, for some of us, we get upset when there's catastrophes. Others, we love catastrophes because there's opportunities. The question is, while you're watching this video, what side of the table do you want to be on? The person that's witnessing and enjoying the opportunities and investing into the opportunities, or the person that's complaining about the catastrophe? It's really up to you. Because at the end of the day, people, remember, it's your life. My video, I can't force you to do anything you don't want to do. All I can do is tell you a vision I have. What you do with the vision, it's up to you. Because some of you at grown adult ages, for some reason right now, still can't get past the fact of you should have good credit. If you have to teach 30, 40, 50 years old individuals about good credit, my God, some of y'all are not going to make it. At 30, 40, or 50 years old, you still got bad credit, you just don't get it. You just don't get it. Some of y'all are going to be broke for a long time. Some of y'all, the sad truth, you're going to die broke. And if you're happy with that, this video has nothing to do with you. If you're happy knowing you're going to die broke, there's nothing to, hey, I'm sorry for even you clicking like on this video, even tuning into this video. But for some of you that want to change the dynamics of your life, you should have good credit. As a mature adult, you should know the value of good credit. People, cash cannot solve all your problems. Some of you think if I had $100,000 cash, I'm rich. People, there's homes that cost $700,000. How could $100,000 solve all your problems? You got $100,000, you can only buy something worth $100,000. But if you got $50,000 or $100,000 with an 850 credit score, you could probably buy something for $1 million. Which has more value, cash or credit? Credit, people. We still got people fighting this right now. Getting fat tax returns every tax season, not fixing their credit. It's easier for them to understand to go put themselves in debt for a car than go put themselves in debt for something that's going to bring them passive income. It's easier to tell a person, look, go get that Range Rover. All right, that same money you was going to put in that Range Rover, go put that in this triplex. Damn. Triplex? I don't know, man. This man on this video tripping, man. He tripping, bitch. As they say, that bit. We as a culture got certain words I see we like to use amongst our friends. I get it. People, it's time. When are you going to start winning? I'm not going to hold you up. I know it's 140, 148. Some of y'all at work. Some of y'all at work getting $20 an hour or less. Complaining how y'all hate your jobs. Not doing nothing about it. Actually, this Saturday, I got a real estate flipping seminar. I hope some of y'all signed up already. So far, I got about 20 people. The rest of y'all, I hope y'all signed up to the real estate flipping seminar I got this week, teaching you how to flip real estate with money and without money. Now, some of y'all that's in this position of life saying, what's next for me? I just told you. If you rewatch this video, you're going to know your next move. Because I'm going to tell y'all right now, listen to me clearly. When this market crash, there's 2 types of people. There's one person watching it crash, and there's the next person like this, just waiting, ready to invest and use all his tools that he got, and ready to buy properties. Ready to buy properties that people that can't afford, from people that can't afford their houses anymore, that was living above their means, from people that all these millions of people who just lost their jobs. Soon they're going to foreclose because they can't afford their house. I can't wait for them to foreclose. Sad to say, because why? Catastrophes give us opportunities. Millions of Americans are losing their jobs. Twitter CEO is now apologizing for hiring too many workers too fast. That doesn't fix the problem or justify the fact that you as grown adults, when you work for companies, don't ever just believe in these companies. Because when they're ready to get rid of you, they do what they're doing now. Company called Workday, many other companies, Meta, which is Facebook, many companies are firing workers. And as they keep firing workers, some of you are going to go run into unemployment. Soon you're going to realize that unemployment is not paying you enough because you was living above your means. Then what's the next thing you're going to do if you do own a home? You're going to foreclose. Then a guy like me and many other investors, we're just waiting for you to foreclose, waiting for you to lose your goddamn house because you should have listened. You went and believed in a company who didn't believe in you. And then there's two types of people. Oh, man, why they did us like this? And the next person, I hope they keep doing y'all like that. People, at the end of the day, what side of the table you want to be on? Do you want to be financially free? Or do you want to keep struggling? The reason I did this video is to really give you guys the insight of how this game works. If you're a person in life that's trying to figure out what's your next play in real estate, you're a beginner investor, you don't know shit about investing, or you're an advanced investor, a great investment for you, if you're single, you have kids or no kids, you should be investing when the market crashes the end of next year in 2024. You should be buying a triplex or a duplex or even a quadplex. And you buy it in a neighborhood that you would like to live in. The other 2 or 3 doors that's in your triplex or quadplex, you rent them out $2,500, $2,200. Because one thing that doesn't change when the market crashes, rent is still high as a motherfucker. Because all these people that's going to be losing houses, they're going to go right to renting. Because they all going to use that word. They want to downsize. Then also the next company that makes money when people are renting, losing their homes, storage, public storage, is going to be making billions of dollars again. People, this is all economics if you don't understand how this game works. The last time we had an opportunity like this was in 2008. And look how long it took for us to get this opportunity again. Stock market is down badly. Crypto is tanking like there's no tomorrow. I think Bitcoin is at 20,000 from the highs of 68,000. They're trying to hype up crypto and stocks. People's not going to have it. People, economics can't readjust itself like this. Right now, we have to fall to the ground first before we start to come back up. I thought I'd share this live with you. I want you guys to enjoy your afternoon. This is your boy Bobby from MentorMe.com. As you guys know, my goal is to teach you how to create wealth while living. Today's topic was just teaching you the importance of, if you're going to be buying a property and you're single, it's better you invest into a duplex, a triplex, or a quadplex. Live in one of the units, make sure it's in a good neighborhood, and rent out the other units. Then a couple years later, go buy your first home. That makes more sense than actually just buying a home, putting all your resources, your savings, your credit, and then you're in debt for 30 years. And there's no true value at this moment. Be smart about your money. Invest smart. My goal is to always just have you guys understand the truth and win. MentorMe.com is your boy Bobby from Mentor Me. Appreciate all the love. Thank you all who subscribe to all my platforms, who support the movement. Again, I always tell you guys, my goal is not here for your money. I'm here for your mind. As you guys see, I don't charge for a lot of things. I charge based on what I want to charge for. A lot of information I give you is real information from a person who I practice what I preach. I'm really a practitioner. Everything I practice, I talk about. This is not a person on live videos talking about things he don't do. Everything I'm talking about, I've done or I'm doing. That's why I want you guys to learn how to be smarter and greater and learn how to of course, create generational wealth. This is your boy Bobby from MentorMe.com. You guys have a great afternoon. I got to get to my next appointment. You guys enjoy. Peace, 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 peace.